of the cervical line is similar, but immediately below the cervical line, a smooth convexity. Remember, a smooth convexity is to be found. It's called as cingulum. So it's very important for your MCQ. So the convexity seen below the cervical line is called as cingulum. So between the marginal ridges, these are the marginal ridges. You can see here. This is the mesial marginal ridge. This is the distal marginal. Okay. So between the marginal ridge, below the cingulum. So this is the cingulum. You can see a shallow concavity, which is called as lingual fossa. So I was discussing about cingulum. Now there is a shallow concavity present beneath the cingulum between the distal and the mesial margin. It's called as lingual fossa. So the lingual fossa is bordered by mesially by mesial margin. You can see this is the mesial margin and distally by distal margin, and cervically by cingulum, and incisally by the lingual portion of the incisor. Usually there are development grooves extending from the cingulum into the lingual fossa. You can see development grooves in the cingulum into the lingual fossa, and the crown and root tapers lingual. You can see here crown and root tapers lingual like this, towards like a triangle. Okay, it tapers lingual. This is also important while carving to get the proper lingual aspect. Now moving on to the mesial aspect of the crown. So in the mesial aspect, the crown is wedge shaped. You can see here this is the wedge shaped or triangular shaped crown with the base of the triangle. This is the base of the triangle at the cervix and the apex at the incisor edge. You can see the base of the triangle is at the cervix. This is the cervical area, and apex is at the incisor edge. A line drawn through the crown and the root from the mesial aspect will bisect the apex of the root and also the incisor edge. So a line drawn through the crown and the root will bisect the apex. This is the apex and the incisor edge of the crown. So this is also important while carving the permanent central incisor. So the incisor ridge of the crown and the apex of the root will be in a single line. So maxillary incisor are occasionally seen with the incisor ridges lingual to the bisecting line. So maxillary incisor occasionally seen with the incisor ridge. So this is the incisor ridge lingual to the bisecting line. Okay. The labial outline of the crown from the crest of curvature to the incisor ridge is very slightly convex. The labial outline. So this is the labial outline of the crown from the crest of curvature. So what is crest of curvature? Crest of curvature is the contact area. It is very slightly convex. The lingual outline. So it is convex at the point where it joins the crest of curvature at the cingulum and concave at the mesial margin. So is convex at the point where it joins the crest of curvature. So here it is convex and concave at the margin. So here it is concave. So concave at the margins and slightly convex again at the lingual-incisor. So here it will be slightly convex again at the lingual-incisor and the incisor edges. Cervical line mesially on the maxillary, central incisor curve incisor to a noticeable degree. So here it is curving towards the incisor edge. Going on to the distal aspect, is very little difference is evident between the distal and mesial outline of the tooth. When looking at the central incisor from the distal aspect, it may be noted that the crown gives the impression of being somewhat thicker towards the incisal one. So you can see here, it is comparatively thicker towards the incisal one third. The curvature of the cervical line. So the curvature of the cervical line outlining the CG is less in extent on the distal than on the mesial aspect. So it is comparatively less in extent to that is curvature of the cervical line towards the incisal. That is less extent on the distal than on the mesial surfaces. You can see here. Here it is more extent towards the incisal edges. Okay. Incisal aspect. A view of the crown from this aspect superimposes it over the root entirely. So the root cannot be seen through this aspect. So from this aspect, The labial face of the crown is relatively broad. So the labial face of the crown is relatively broad and flat in comparison with the lingual surface. So it is relatively broad and flat. And the cervical portion of the crown labial is convex. So the cervical portion of the crown is labial is convex. You can see here is labial is convex. The incisor ridge may be seen clearly, and the differentiation between the incisor ridge and the remainder of the incisor ridge with its slopes towards the lingual is easily distinguishable. So you can see here, this is the incisor edges. Okay. So the outline of the lingual portion of the tapus lingual towards cingulum. The outline of the lingual portion. So you can see here is the outline of the lingual portion tapus towards the cingulum. And the mesiolabial and distolabial angles are prominent from the incisor. So you can see the mesiolabial. This is the mesiolabial and the distolabial line angles are prominent from the incisor as well. The crown conforms to a triangular outline reflected by the outline of the root cross section and the cervix. So it shows a triangular outline reflected by the outline of the root cross section at the cervical portion. Now we go to the root. The root is single, conical, relatively straight and tapers to rounded apex. So the cervical region you can see somewhat conical in shape. The mid-root portion shows a relatively rounded shape. And that apex will become a tapers to a rounded apex. And horizontal cross section of root near cervical line shows a rounded triangular outline. You can see a rounded triangular outline. And normally the root is wider at the labial. So here you can see the root is wider at the labial portion. So root is wider at the labial, which is the base of the triangle, and the narrow at the lingual, which is apex. So this is the apex. When you consider this as a triangle, the labial surface will be more wider, and this is the apex of the triangle, which is narrower. So a mid-root cross section usually reveals somewhat overt. Here you can see somewhat overt shape outline, which is wider labial than mesiodistally. So this wider labial lingually. So this is wider labial than mesiodistal. So when you draw a line from labial aspect to the lingual aspect, and also a line from mesial aspect to distal aspect, the labio lingual outline line will be more wider. What is the difference between permanent and deciduous teeth? So permanent incisors are smaller in size, deciduous comparatively large in size, and crown is bulbous, but in case of deciduous, crown is less bulbous. So permanent incisors got a short trunk, in deciduous it is larger trunk, and prominent cervical ridge in case of permanent incisor, and deciduous it is less prominent cervical ridge, and widely divergent roots in case of permanent central incisors, and deciduous tooth it is less widely divergent roots. Thank you. So this is about central incisor. I'll be coming with a new video. Thank you.